Mr. Ple-
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day that you have made. We thank you for giving us life, health, and strength. As we come today, Lord, we ask for your choice blessings upon this meeting. For elected officials, we pray for our mayor and council members, their districts, constituents that they serve. We ask for your presence to be in this meeting right now. Lord, we acknowledge that we need you. We pray for your guidance. We pray that as these, your leaders, address the concerns and challenges put forth, Lord, that they may meet each challenge, Lord, and each concern in a way, Lord, that edifies and uplifts your people. God, let them govern in a spirit of harmony, realizing that all of us working together collaboratively with you and with each other will bring about lasting and meaningful change. We pray for peace over our city. We pray for every violent, deranged person who intends to inflict harm on another person. We pray, Lord, that even before law enforcement reaches them, you reach them. We pray that you'll turn their hearts and their minds to go into a different direction, a direction of peace. Lord, we know that these are sometimes challenging times, but we know that through you, all things are possible. And finally, Lord, we know our past, but it's only you that know our future. And so we ask, Lord, for your wisdom and your power. Lead us forth to make this city not only a model city, but a city, Lord, that others can follow, that it will be known for progression and productivity. It's in Christ Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for your participation with the pledge and the prayer. I'd like to take a motion for the approval of the September 3rd, 2024 work session meeting. Need a motion?
So moved.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Need a motion for the approval of the September 3rd, 2024 regular council meeting.
So moved.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Need approval of the September 5th, 2024 budget work session minutes.
So moved.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Thank you, Council. Mr. Mayor.
Good evening. I want to thank everybody, all the citizens of Montgomery, for coming out today to take part in local government. We certainly want to thank all the council members for their work they've been doing throughout this year, certainly since our last meeting. Mr. President, I'm going to get started with our monthly financial update and jump right on in. We'll get into sales and use tax, lodging tax, gasoline tax, and alcoholic and beverage tax. You see here on this first slide, the sales and use tax revenue is still trending up year over year. That is positive for us. The growth rate in August was about 5% as compared to last year. Year over year sales and use tax revenue is reflecting a growth rate of slightly over 5%. This year's collections are higher than last year. This is likely attributable to inflation and the cost of goods sold to customers. The lodging tax revenue decreased significantly in August from 6% in July. This is likely because families are not traveling as much due to school starting back and summer travel just slowing down. The growth rate compared to the same period in fiscal year 2023 remained roughly flat, really increased about 1%. Despite the year-over-year growth, this has done very well again at nearly 6%. Now we're on to the gasoline tax. The revenue in August compared to the month of July declined again a little bit, but roughly flat, being less than 0.5 to be accurate, 0.38%. Again, less travel is going to mean less gasoline taxes, and that means that revenue is going to be less. Year over year, gasoline tax revenue is slightly less than the break even that we see right here. Next slide. The alcoholic and beverage tax revenue rebounded with an increased growth rate of more than 11% in August compared to the same month in fiscal year 2023. This revenue growth rate is almost 4.5% year over year. And closing of the books of fiscal year 2024 is upon us, and we are about to embark on a new fiscal year on October 1. The Finance Department will be working with the city's external auditors, preparing the financial statements for FY 2024 that must be submitted to the Government Finance Officers Association no later than March 31st, 2025. Council, I will conclude my financial update on the major revenue sources for our city. Now we'll get into just a few public safety updates. We continue to make that a priority to keep every citizen in our city safe. The Montgomery Fire and Rescue welcomed 11 new certified firefighters last Thursday as Class 2024-A graduated from the training academy. The class began on February 2nd with 12 weeks of EMT basic National Registry training. The group then spent the remaining 16 weeks of coursework dedicated to fire suppression classes. These graduates join a department of which we're very proud as they join a team that holds certification from the Commission on the Accreditation of Ambulance Services and Fire with an ISO Class 1 rating. There are only 9 metro fire departments in the United States that have all 3 of those designations. We extend thanks to Chief Mitford Jordan and his team for their commitment to keeping our communities safe. And staying on the topic of keeping our communities safe, next slide, please. This Saturday, starting at 10 a.m., Central Alabama Crime Stoppers will be hosting an anonymous gun buyback. This event will take place in the parking lot of True Divine Baptist Church, located at 4601 Troy Highway in Montgomery. Crime Stoppers will pay cash to citizens who surrender guns, and you can get $50 for any rifle or shotgun, $100 for any functioning handgun, and $200 for an assault or semi-automatic rifle. The purpose of the gun buyback is to provide a safe and anonymous way for the community to turn in firearms they no longer need or want. Your participation in this event helps keep our community safe by reducing the number of unused guns in circulation. We encourage all residents to consider taking advantage of this opportunity to make a positive impact in our community. Lifestyle Community Blood Center will also have a blood mobile on site available for anyone that would like to save lives by donating. Next slide. I also want to highlight the recent gun ordinance I signed that has gone into effect. This new gun ordinance requires a valid photo ID to carry a concealed firearm in a vehicle or on one's person in the city of Montgomery. If a valid photo ID cannot be produced, the firearm will be confiscated and held by the Montgomery Police Department for 30 days. Citizens can still get their firearm back. All they must do is provide a photo ID, proof of ownership, and pay a $150 fine. If the owner does not meet these qualifications after the 30-day hold, the gun will be destroyed. This ordinance demonstrates a necessary action step regarding crime in our city, that we will become the first city in Alabama to sign such an ordinance. We thank the City Council for its support in helping us keep our citizens safe. Our administration is working with state and federal legislators on common sense gun reform, so more ordinances and more ideas will be forthcoming. We believe it is incumbent upon us as a city to do what some at other levels of government refuse to do. So I'm glad to say we'll continue to work at this, we'll continue to think through ideas, and we welcome other steps that can be taken at the local level. Officers continue to undergo intensive de-escalation training to ensure professional and respectful interactions when coming upon one of these situations. We also continue to invest in state-of-the-art technology, including a centralized crime data system to improve response time. We understand that public safety is a top priority, which is why our administration has invested more in the Montgomery Police Department than any previous administration. Our officers are doing great work and have removed over 1,300 guns from the street, demonstrating our commitment to a safer environment for all. We continue to see the homicide rate trend downward to about 14 to 15% year over year. We're seeing the same trend with non-fatal shootings, which are down about 13% year over year. We also maintain a commitment to clearing our city's homicides, as we boast a homicide clearance rate at nearly 10% higher than the national average. However, we are seeing an uptick in property crime. So again, we want to make sure that those property owners, both home, business, churches, and otherwise, that you're aware of that. And our men and women in the Montgomery Police Department, working with our Montgomery County Sheriff's Office and other law enforcement agencies, are doing their best to make sure that that trend also sees positive work as it relates to going from an increase to a decrease when it comes to burglaries and thefts and other property-related crimes. Fellow citizens, we are working hard every day to hear your concerns and take decisive action to keep the community safe. Next slide. Community center updates are very important because we know that they are relevant to all of our neighbors and friends in our community. Construction is underway on Calmar Drive as a site that will feature the brand new Calmar Community Center. The 5,000 square foot facility will include meeting rooms and classrooms, a high quality pre-K programming, workforce development, and continuing education opportunities. The facility will also incorporate activities for senior citizens, high school students, and others. Also, renovations continue at Crump Community Center that will make the space even more welcoming for those that visit. Some of those highlights include not only a freshly painted interior, but more ADA compliant restrooms, enhanced signage, a state-of-the-art computer room, and an upgraded auditorium stage. Not to be outdone, Sheridan Heights Community Center is also on track for completion a few months from now. Just rode by there last Saturday, this past Saturday morning. Looks great. We got a little bit of work to do on the ball fields, on the scoreboards, but that'll come after the community center. I think we also have some possibilities with the playground equipment and the trails and certainly the pool, but we'll work on that. As it relates to the center being revitalized with resealed bricks, an upgraded kitchen, ADA compliant gymnasium upgrades including new bleachers and basketball goals to ensure a safe and modern experience for everyone. The YouthBuild Montgomery program. Mr. President, this is something we would like to highlight. The City of Montgomery's Office of Workforce and Opportunity has been awarded a $1.5 million grant from the U.S. Department of Labor for the YouthBuild Montgomery program. 70 opportunity youth, ages 18 to 24, who left school without a high school diploma will get access to educational services, skills training, leadership development, job placement, and support services under this grant. It's important to understand that this, in part, came about not only through our grants department, but in talking with the Biden administration's Acting Secretary of Labor, Julie Sue, on a recent visit to Montgomery, where we talked about how these grants can impact those who are looking to be reskilled and looking to rejoin our workforce at a different level. The YouthBuild program has filled its grant-funded positions for case managers and construction trainers, but applicants are still needed for experienced adult education teachers and advanced manufacturing trainers. Our faith leaders in the community told us that when we make these announcements, that's great, but it's hard for some in the community to get to them. So again, we're going to ask for not only our city council members, but everyone who is here in person and those that are watching virtually to highlight these type of grants and these type of opportunities and make sure that people that you know who may be looking to get these certifications are aware of how to get them. Our goal is not to make the announcements, our goal is to make an impact. And we do that by making sure that these programs are filled with those who may not have had the opportunity otherwise to get this type of training. Sponsors and volunteers are also still needed. So anyone who wants to help with the program or be a part of it can start by visiting the city's website, where you can find links to apply as an instructor or a student. And Mr. President, finally, with National Good Neighbor Day approaching on September 28th, we would like to close out this mayor's message by recognizing some good neighbors in our community. The Seth Johnson Neighborhood Association has been doing incredible work to keep their community clean and beautiful. Seth Johnson Neighborhood Association President, Ms. Angela Expert, alerted us to some community superheroes that have taken it upon themselves to clean up litter and debris along major thoroughfares in the neighborhood. The inspiring efforts of these individuals displays the kind of community spirit we want to foster in Montgomery. And that goes along with the Clean City Commission that does so much great work as well. But I want to highlight Mr. Barry, who picks up trash from Southern Boulevard to Buckingham. He also cleans up the area near the entrance for the residential homes. He has a contagious personality and wants everyone in the city to know, quote, "We can roll up our sleeves and work together for our city." Mr. Eugene Pratt also demonstrates selfless service to the neighborhood. Mr. Pratt maintains the community trash cans and ensures the timely removal of debris from around the street drains. Mr. Arnold Mitchell helps clear trash along the major road at the neighborhood entrance. Often working alone, Mr. Mitchell has helped demonstrate the sense of community and a sense of pride among our neighborhood residents. And we'd also like to recognize the tireless efforts of Ms. Ernestine Woods. She organizes large neighborhood cleanup days and works alongside residents. Her passion for a clean community is contagious, and she has been instrumental in supporting the work of the Seth Johnson Neighborhood Association. We are thankful for the passion and spirit of these Seth Johnson Neighborhood Association residents, as well as those in neighborhoods across our city that continues to be demonstrated each and every day. We hope that maybe this example will encourage others to show what they're doing in their neighborhoods, and I'm sure you'll get that to your council members probably before the end of this meeting, because we know it's not just one neighborhood, but it's neighborhoods all across our community. But the efforts of these individuals we have recognized tonight, as well as those of many people who live across our city, are helping create a Montgomery where everyone can thrive in a safe and vibrant neighborhood with the tools needed for success. And with that, Mr. President, that concludes the mayor's message. I turn it back over to you, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for the mayor?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, real quick. The gasoline tax number being down, was wondering, when we first came on to the council, you made a presentation that was really exciting about the gateways into the city. I think obviously, some of us have been talking about whether it be Ann Street, Southern Boulevard. Is that something that we're still working on tracking down? Because I think that will help us not send gas tax to Prattville or Tuskegee or down even farther south. So is that still going on?
Yes, Mr. Robert Smith just sent me a update on that last week, and it may be a good opportunity for him to present at the next work session, just to update you all on it as well.
Excellent.
All right. And Mr. President, I know we have presentations for the members for the Neighborhood Association.
I was just about to call them up. Go
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Ms. Pratt, Mr. Pratt, Ms. Ernestine, all the members that we talked about on the video, you guys come up. They are proud members of District 5.
There we go.
Special members.
Mr. Barry, Mr. Pratt, Mr. Mitchell, and Ms. Woods. Thank you all so much. You come on up, we'll grab a picture with you.
Y'all come on out. Come on over here. Come on over here. Represent District 5 real well. Proud of y'all. Come on, Mr. Mitchell. Hey, let's center. Clean it up. Let's center yourself on this page. Y'all put the tall guy in front of him. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any other questions, Mr. Mayor? All right. The Montgomery Fire and Rescue.
Mr. President, that's supposed to be October the 1st, not tonight.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Anna Buckaloo from Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening. I will be brief. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, I want to thank you on behalf of the Chamber just for always being united in your support for economic development to bring jobs and opportunities to Montgomery. Whether it be tourism, military mission, or projects like Meta, our success in economic development depends on public education and workforce. I want to express today, on behalf of the economic development mission of the Chamber and the business community as a whole, our concerns over the resignation of Dr. Melvin Brown. Under Dr. Brown's leadership, just to give him a moment of praise, and I know we'll have a chance to celebrate his leadership, we have made extraordinary progress. Dr. Brown made solid, hard decisions to get our system on track and put students first, building a team of high-capacity, high-performing professionals to lead us forward. His departure is far too soon and could have been prevented, frankly. But last night, we, and many of you enjoyed this also, sat for 4 hours as the majority of a Board of Education pushed a great superintendent out of our city. I know how important our public schools are to each of you, and that this council and this mayor is united in your commitment to continuing the momentum we have underway on so many fronts in our great city. The County Commission this morning shared that same optimism, and they expressed that same commitment to unify around public education and working for the common good to grow Montgomery. Contrary to what you may have heard in the news, it was a packed house last night, just for the record, at the school board meeting, with an overflow room even filled with business and civic leaders who wanted to know that our Board of Education was listening and acting for that common good. Those of us there that night did not see that kind of behavior from the school board. That's why your leadership and strong engagement moving forward is more important than ever. We have extraordinary momentum, and together, united, we can build on that. Appreciate your support and your continued efforts to grow Montgomery. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Buckaloo, for all you do. Thank you. Any special committees to report? No special committees to report? All right, we're going to try to get you out of here within 4 hours tonight, okay?
Mr. President, did you, this middle school athletic program?
Yes,
we'll do that
you can go ahead and introduce that, Mr. Jim Wright,
Yeah.
and we can carry that
You
over.
got that? Just pass it up and down. Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
What is this?
It's been carried over to the next meeting.
Yeah, this is
You
the,
got that?
this is the agreement for the middle school
Middle school
athletic
athletic.
program between the city of
Resolution.
Montgomery and Montgomery Public Schools. We just-
Resolution authorizing agreement between MPS and the City of Montgomery supporting MPS Middle School Athletics Program. And you want it carried over?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Jim Wright. All right, item number 1.
Ordinance rezoning 3620 Old Selma Road from an M3 district to an R99S district. The hearing has already been held on this one.
All right, Ms. Riley?
Yes, Mr. President, they have met with the community and we have discussed some issues and we have come to a great solution. They are going to allow for one trailer to be put on that property to allow them to have their trailer, only that trailer, and give them time to tear down the home that's already been done, that the inspection division has already informed them that they're going to need to do.
All right, need a motion?
Need a motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous, ordinance is adopted.
All right,
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Item 2, ordinance amending fiscal year 2024 operating and debt service budget and adopting fiscal year 2025 operating and debt service budget.
All right, Madam Clerk, I think we would need to take item 3 before we take a vote on item number 2.
Three and 4.
3 and 4, yes,
I'll
ma'am.
go ahead
Sorry,
and just pull
apologize.
those out now. Item 3, ordinance amending Chapter 6, Article 1, Section 6.4 of the Municipal Code, business license requirements for event centers.
All right. Council, you have the ordinance on the floor. Need a motion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Szymanski?
I'd like to offer a substitution or amendment.
Got to have an adoption, motion to adopt.
Sure.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. We're going to ask for adoption then.
Motion to adopt
Okay, and to substitute.
and to substitute.
All in favor, please raise your
Okay,
hand.
I don't have a substitute.
You need to give,
Right, well, that's fine.
you passed it out to her?
Huh?
You passed the substitute out?
You have to get it written up
Oh,
and then you pass it out to
Or
the.
you want to make an amendment?
That's what I said.
Yeah, well,
Initially,
substitute
you said
me, you gotta
substitute.
give me something to
Yeah,
pass
yeah,
out.
okay.
Okay, you're gonna make
Right.
amendment
Yep.
So you're making a motion to amend?
to amend which part, Mr.
State your
Semansky?
motion.
Yeah, so in section number 2C,
Yes,
it says no two licenses for rental hall / event center shall be permitted to be located within 2 miles of each other. After that comma, I would like to amend that to include unless, what do you say, appealed to the city council or appealed by?
An appeal to the city council.
I want to make sure I get that right. I don't know what the proper legalese is.
Yes, she said
bought-
yes.
She said yes.
Unless, passage by, appeal passage by the city
I'm
council.
trying to think how to word it so it will be clear to everybody.
Thank you, Brenda.
Shall be permitted to be located within 2 miles of each.
Mr.
And you
So-
can always say,
So you got his amendment?
may be appealed, distance may be appealed to council.
Yep.
Insert that right there. Does that suffice with everybody? Or
Yeah, and again, just to clarify.
250,
What?
250 feet for residential.
Do you have another?
Okay, that's another amendment.
And that's
So-
on section, number 2, section B, where the license for such businesses shall require a separation of distance of 200 feet from any churches, private and public schools and universities, daycares, public parks, residential areas, and community centers.
2E?
2B, B as in
2B.
Bravo.
Oh, okay, 2B. Licenses for shall require separation of 250 feet from any, and insert residential there?
Yes, ma'am.
Residential zoning.
Mm-hmm.
Are y'all gonna make that one amendment, or are you gonna be 2 amendments to vote on?
2 amendments to vote on.
Okay, is that Mr.,
Oh, well, one
No,
amendment.
let's
It could be
make one amendment.
One amendment.
One amendment to vote on, and we can give it all to Mr. Andrew Semansky.
unless somebody calls for a division of the
All right, that's
question?
the consensus of the council. We have a consensus?
Yeah,
Everybody
we're
good?
gonna have a vote on it, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President.
All right, all in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand.
7.
Okay.
Mr. Grimes, are you voting?
I'm voting to amend, yes.
You're voting what?
To amend,
Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, now the motion
Now
to
voting on the
adopt
main
is
motion, all in
amended.
favor, please raise your hand.
7,
All opposed is the same, right?
you abstain?
yes, ma'am.
We have 1 abstention.
All right,
Just
Thank you,
one.
Mr. President.
thank you. Item
Item
number,
number 4, ordinance amending section 16-106 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Montgomery.
all right.
And these are the business license
All right.
fees.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes, Mr. President, I know we had a brief discussion during work session about some questions. I did have a conversation with some key builders in the city and gave them some information, and they were okay to move forward. I know the attorneys are okay, and we had some doctors actually show up, and some real estate brokers to show up during the meetings, and so that's a okay across the board for the concern of the council. So I'd like to make a movement to, a move to
Motion to
adopt.
adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All right, okay, and on item number 4, we do have public communication, Mr. Jimmy Rutland. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Jimmy Rutland. I represent the Greater Montgomery Home Builders Association, and I am here to speak in opposition to this ordinance, specifically Schedule AM dealing with contractor fees. Currently, currently in the city of Prattville, Pike Road, and Auburn, we pay a tenth of what we pay right now for our city license. In Montgomery, we also pay a high building permit fee, but which is competitive with the building permit fees that are paid in those other cities that I mentioned. So I feel as if we're paying 2 fees or 2 business license in this municipality. Prattville's business license is $75. Pike Road is $100. Auburn is $155. Currently, our license in the city of Montgomery is almost $1,200. This would push it to almost $5,000.
Thank you for, Mr. President. Thank you, sir. You have
Thank you.
opportune time to, you always pick the perfect time to come in to oppose different things, sir. We were meeting, I just want to put that out, that we've met as a committee for 3 months on this. And we went back and forth. We had people come in, and we never had you all to come in. We're about to pass something for the budget that we need in the city. This is basically a full piece of almost, I guess, 35% of this budget is based on our, how much a percentage of this budget, the fee schedule is based on, Ms. Beville? 6.5 million. I know we have a lot of concern on how things are happening in the city and how we can afford it and what we'll do. So we haven't had an increase in the fee schedule since 2008
Yes,
in the city of Montgomery. And not to slight in any way what's happening in Prattville, but we are not the same type of city. We're not the same size of city, and they don't need the same things that we need as a city. And when I look down, I spoke to a couple of builders, and I appreciate you showing up for the greater good of the group. But I did speak to a couple of builders that are here in Montgomery that are actually in my district that I talk to all the time, and they were perfectly fine with it. They even said they pay the maxed out fee, and they were okay with it. So if we break down the license fee base for contractors, it's increased by $100. However, the threshold for the base is increased by $100,000, and that's, of course, what you put in and pay and gain. So that's a $100 increase, which is over 15 years, the last time licenses was increased. And it comes to about $6.67 per year. That is not a large increase, especially with what's being brought in as a builder and what you earn. I don't think that's a huge price to pay.
May I respond?
Yes, sir.
So that is not the only increase. It is also going from 10 cents per thousand to 50 cents per thousand. So it's going up 4 times what it is currently. And again, in other municipalities, and I agree with you, we're not the same city that Prattville is, but Prattville is our competition. Auburn is our competition. Pike Road is our competition. Here recently, y'all talked about all the new homes that were going to be built in the city of Montgomery. If you want builders to stay and build in this area, you need to make those rates competitive. They're not competitive now, and this is just exacerbating that.
So you think that, in your opinion, you would like them to stay the same and not increase for the builders?
Well, again, we're paying a high business license fee currently and competitive building permit rates. What I'm asking for is not to increase the building license, the license for that. Again, $75 in Prattville, $100 in Pike Road, $155 in Auburn. This would carry our license to almost $5,000.
I guess I would ask you to look at it like if we did this like we should have been doing it as a city, this would have been done every 3 to 5 years, probably every 3 years to make it something that's sustainable and the city could grow. But that hasn't happened. So we stay at this standstill in the city because we kind of make these things and these judges for certain particular groups. But we're increasing it across the board. So it's not like we just pick the builders to do it. It's totally across the board. And it was a huge increase for the medical profession. But they came in, they spoke their piece during that time. But when they realized what it was, they were like, oh, okay, well, that's not too bad compared to inconsistent with what I earn. And so I think it's fair as the city and as a builder to look at, if we haven't done this at all, how big of an ask is it if we're doing it now? And it's across the board anyway. It's not just like, we are doing this by whim and we did this 2 years ago. This increase hasn't happened for you at all. So I don't think it's fair as the city to just make the adjustment to not do any increase for the builder when we've done it across the board.
Well, first let me apologize that we weren't part of the conversation earlier. We had not been notified by it personally. You may have spoken to some builders, and I appreciate you doing that. We have been wrapped up, as you know, because I've been down here for the last several meetings talking about the 2024 building code. So that quite honestly had most of our attention. and then this became we became aware of this recently, and so I'm down here for the first time as part of the public hearing just to voice my opposition.
I thank you for that, sir. I do. I do appreciate it, and we all thank you. I guess I look at it in the fairness of we would want to basically hold up the budget for the one area for no increase and change everything, considering how long we've been working on it, and just to be approached with it tonight as if we haven't. And it was public notice, but I wasn't aware that, I did reach out to some that I knew, but and that was just as courtesy because I knew them. And I do that to different groups that I do know because I do chair that committee. But I don't know, I didn't necessarily go a whole email out to everybody,
Sure.
So I guess I just would like to know, I really don't know, but I do appreciate you putting in your input and your opinion, but I would personally like to ask the council to move forward so we can adopt our budget for the 2025 year. And maybe, because I know we want to do it again in 3 to 5 years, that we can start having a conversation now for what that looks like in 3 to 5 years.
Yes, ma'am. I certainly respect the time that y'all have put in. Wish I had known about it sooner and we could have had some further discussions, but thank you for hearing me tonight.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Rutland, Mr.
Yes.
President, may I ask one more question?
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry. Give me the figures again. In Prattville, the rate is what?
In Prattville, the rate is $75 plus I think it's a $14 issuance fee.
Okay. Opelika?
Opelika Auburn is $155. And then Pike Road is $100 plus the issuance fee.
And in Montgomery, you pay?
Currently in Montgomery, almost $1,200, and this would take it to almost $5,000.
And that's not as
It's
a
taking
whole,
it from
though.
10, so it's a base fee, as Ms. Johnson said, of $200.
Right.
It's going up $100 to $300. And then it's going from, this is the big kicker, it's going from, because it's based on your gross receipts.
Correct.
So it's going from 10 cents per thousand to 50 cents per thousand. And we just feel like that's an extremely large jump, and especially not to have had any input in it.
Mr. President.
Thank you.
All right, thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
President.
Who's calling? Mr. Samansky.
If
Yeah,
I
and
could make one more comment too. Again, I want y'all to understand, we're paying in all those municipalities about the same as far as building permits are concerned, okay? But we pay, and really the way the municipalities look at it, if you read the language on the applications, it has a fee plus gross receipts for non-permitted jobs. Well, we're permitting every house that we build, and so we're paying an additional fee on top of that, on top of the business license. And so that's the difference in the other municipalities.
Yeah, and Mr. President, just to echo that, one of the things I thought that we did really well, that Ms. Bevel's department did really well, was when it came to retail and looking at some of the other categories where we tiered it out a little bit further, because I think we had a really good understanding of what the input was from small business owners, large business owners. Just as an example, if you look at Schedule C, we've got that one broken down, as 0 to 50,000, 50,000 to 250,000, 250 to 500,000, 500 to $1 million, all the way up to 10 million to 50 million and 50 million and above. And so one of the things that we've been having a lot of conversations about, I've been having conversations with Mr. Compton, is about our lack of workforce and affordable housing here in the city of Montgomery. Increasing these fees it's not just going to hit their bottom line, it's going to hit the home buyer's bottom line. And we just gave permitting to 177 new units to be built out. Was it 177 off of Atlanta Highway? To be built to accommodate some of the housing needs that are out there. I understand that we are at the last minute. And again, I know that one of the challenges in doing this is you can't get everybody into the room that this is going to affect. And I don't think that is, there wasn't any purposeful oversight. I'm just asking that, would it be possible for us one more time to consider breaking those tiers down? This is the public, this is our opportunity to be engaged. We have, obviously, you represent a lot of home builders in the city. But I think if we went, because $300,000 is, when you think about how much business they're doing building houses, it's not very big. And so to go from 0 to 300 and 300 and above is quite a jump. And so I think maybe coming up with something that included a few more tiers in that would still net us out from the largest, producers a favorable business fee license, or license fee for us, for the builders, but also then giving builders in the middle, right? Because if you're a home builder that does only $1 million versus someone that does $60 million, you're still paying that same rate. And so I'm, again, would ask that we would consider an amendment, or at least have one more conversation with the finance department, because this one wasn't the last Commerce Committee meeting, but this one missed us, unlike a lot of others, which I think we hit on really well.
I will add, in 2008, the last time it was changed, we were a part of that conversation, and we actually helped raise the building permit fees as far as how those were calculated. So we're open, and we understand in order to be progressive and move forward and do what, provide for the city what we need to provide, they're not going to stay the same forever. And so we'd love to sit back down the table or sit at the table and talk about it this time.
Mr. President, can I ask a quick question?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
The comparison has been to smaller cities in our region. What's the comparison, Mr. Rowland, to Huntsville, Birmingham, Mobile?
So, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, we actually did that. It was a breakdown for everything, every tier that they did the adjustments for. Ms. Faye isn't here today, but she did extensive research, and she even contacted, if I'm not mistaken, some NLC contacts to do like a breakdown, and she looked at several cities outside of Alabama and those inside Alabama. Tuscaloosa was one that, although it's smaller, it was one that was on the comparison list. I would have had some stuff for you, the breakdown, but I guess my thing is, I do understand this, but then we came out of, so this is one of those things, it was in committee, 3 months, it came, so we voted it out of committee. We go back to this discussion, it'll go back into committee, then we have to bring it back out. So then it may be another association that says we need to do this because they saw that you got it done. And now here we go, extend it again, and then we're going back to and have to operate off our 2024 budget. And I think that it's important to note across the council and in the public, if we do that, we just did this huge announcement the mayor made about the increases for the police department that we did in the public safety committee, and we stayed in about that. That would go away, all of that, and we would be still operating in 2024 because there was, I won't say a neglect, but there was no involvement in one particular group to hold the city up and now and hold up the pay for a police officer that I know we all know that we need. But doing this, that's what that does. It starts a ripple effect.
Yes, ma'am. And I respect that. And if I can, I'd like to answer the
Mr.
mayor.
Brother, you can go ahead and address that question.
Mr. Mayor, again, the difference is in most of the municipalities that you're talking about, I'm very familiar with Tuscaloosa, friends with the mayor, know people there, builders. They're paying a small business license, but then their revenue or their contribution to the city, if you will, is based on the building permits, okay? So they pay a low business license fee, but their building permits are higher, and that makes up for the difference in other industries, if you will. And Ms. Johnson, I completely respect, I don't know if there's a way to amend this so that we could put this one schedule AM to the side and come back to it, so we could sit with the finance department, yourself and the council and whoever and talk about that, because again, we're not against an increase in the fees, and I understand, I'm just, it's like it's double dipping. We as a city are doing that to the home building and contracting industry.
Mr. President, I would just, and Mr. Mayor, just to answer the question, they don't start the per 1,000, it's 25 cents per 1,000, but that doesn't start until $10 million. Ours under this proposal would start at 300,000 and be 40 cents per thousand. So theirs is over 10 million and over, and it's 25 cents versus the 40 that we've got proposed today.
Okay, Mr. President, can I ask Ms. Beeville to come up and maybe just address what this adjustment would do to the budget? Because I know that's supposed to be voted on tonight. So what does that look like?
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. If this ordinance is not passed, you can't adopt a budget because we have a $6.5 million increase in this budget for business licenses due to the anticipation that the fees were going to go up. It is in this budget. And we would not be able to operate on the proposed FY 2025 budget as the mayor has presented beginning October 1. It means there would be no increases in our sworn officer salaries because we're going to be operating on 2024 budget, which is going to make it very difficult. We will go through however many pay periods. All of that information would have to be reversed out once a budget is adopted for 2025. And we would have to start all over from scratch. And we would be probably working not just 12 hours a day, but maybe 20 hours a day at that point in order to make this work.
But this is one that I think, as I said, was an oversight and one we have to get right. We just got handed an amendment to the budget 10 minutes ago, changing some of the numbers around. So all I'm saying is that October 1 is the next meeting that we have. And, given the numbers for Huntsville and some of the other locations that we've just spoken about, even just building that and focusing on that one category, that'll have a ripple effect. $300,000 versus $10 million, 25 versus 50 cents. Something, again, I understand it's the last hour. I don't know if we really have,
And also, I need for legal, Mrs. Bellinger, to explain to us, according to Act 618, a budget should be adopted by the 20th day of September. I'm not a legal person, but I know that is in Act 618, just like the mayor has to present the budget.
Mr. President, I know in the past we have carried the budget over. Is that correct, Ms. Clerk? Madam Clerk?
Once
Yes,
in
sir.
my tenure.
It was carried over under Mayor Bright until January.
Till January.
Yes, sir.
And when we carry it over, the departments are operating under their current budget. So they're operating under this fiscal year budget. If they don't have any money, they don't operate.
Well, can I say something?
Well, let me clarify that.
One at a time. Ms. Beeville, then I'll come back to you, Ms. Johnson.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It will be the same budget. It won't be a continuation of what they have, but you've got to realize you've got new positions that are in this budget, people that have been hired, and the FY 2024 budget is not supporting that. So it's going to be a ripple effect, all right, especially with the employees in the city of Montgomery that's got to do this work, go back and correct it if you do not adopt a budget tonight.
And again,
Hold on, Ms. Johnson.
I just want to reiterate, this goes against everything that everybody up here was fighting for these 19%, the increase across the board that we all voted on. And not only that, Mr. Samansky, you are on the committee. You only missed one meeting. Like, and you are literally the one that's going against everything that we worked on the last 3 months. You are the one, literally. And we've done this for 3 months, and you've been to every meeting. And we made several concessions and did a whole lot of work through. I understand that this is one, but what I'm saying is this is not the only one we missed. Everyone did not show up. We know this is over 50 pages of increases that's happening. So we do one, then we have to do another, and then again, as I stated, these increases that what happened across the board. I think that we ball our fists and make moves, and it looks like we're doing it for one particular group. This is not a slight against you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. And can I say this? I mean, we don't want to stand in the way of keeping increases for our police officers. Home builders don't, for sure. If there's a way for us to come back and address this after it's passed or sit down, I mean, we're more than willing to do that. I don't know what's possible. I mean, if an amendment can be made now, great, to hold it off. If we need to pass it the way it is, we don't want to stand. I mean, I'm not trying to cause.
Mr. President.
Mr. Bryan?
Ms. Peeble, how much do we project we'll have fallout this year? Do we know?
No, sir. I'm not into the 13th accounting period yet.
Yeah.
I can only base it on what I'm hoping and the list of items that we know that we've got to build a new landfill cell.
Right, I understand.
At a significant amount of money. We've got some mandated expenses that are going to be, repairs and or whatever at the Biscuit Stadium that have to be done. Equipment purchases come out of fallout. That's why we don't go to the bank anymore for a lease purchase agreement. The short-term debt, we have no short-term debt. And all we were doing, you pay off 1 year and you add another year. 3 years, you got it rolling all the time. It's like you never pay for your vehicle.
Mr. President, Mr. Rutland.
Yes, sir.
I'm about compromise, and I do not want,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
about compromise, and I do not want you to feel, or the builders, the rest of the builders that I didn't get to talk to, or any other group, we make the budget every year. You know, we do a budget every year, and we are thinking of all kind of creative ways to increase our budget over the years. So is there a way that we can do this and work towards what 2026 will look like for us?
Certainly, and let me say this, I mean, I think our portion of the budget, Mr. Tate was, I think at the last meeting said, I mean, it's a residential permits are a minuscule part, and so I'm assuming that the business licenses are, so I don't think it's gonna have that great of effect, but we're not against an increase, we just, and again, I apologize profusely that we weren't part of the conversation earlier, I do.
Council, may I make a suggestion? And I think we can get a commitment. If we was to pass this amendment, pass the budget, make an adjustment, get a commitment, and we want to go back and revamp this. And any adjustment we did it during COVID, during the budget, we backfilled, we didn't spend the money, and we need to make those adjustments from a 331 to a 329. If we need to make those adjustments, I wouldn't want to hold up as we go into our first quarter anything that we promised and we worked on from a council standpoint when the citizens was packing out City Hall about what we need within this city, the things that we need to change to be a progressive city, and then we retracted. I think we worked on, I commend the committee for doing what you guys did. As I said in the work session, we are all open to go to a committee meeting to have our comments to work with it. If we can just commit to making the adjustments as needed, we know it will be an increase, but if it's not the 300,000 and above, we come up with a number and we can adjust the budget and within our first quarter if we can get that commitment.
Mr. President, the council cannot open the budget once it's adopted.
But that's why I'm getting the commitment from the mayor's office over here with
the
that.
mayor can open the budget and present it to y'all for amendment, but it's at his discretion.
But can I, Mr. President, can I just ask?
Hold on, let me get an answer to my question first as we move forward. And that's what we're looking at. Because I know once we pass the budget, it is a closed budget unless it's something else that we come.
So what's the question?
The question is, if we
open the budget based on
once we go in and make
feedback
these
from the
adjustments, have this
homeless
conversation, open it back up to make those adjustments. If it's 200, if it stays the same, at least we have that conversation to try to come to a compromise. If it's something that we can't work with, we just have to move forward. If we can reduce it 1.5%, 2%, whatever we need across, we can make those adjustments and move forward.
If that's the will of the council, we'll be open to compromise.
That's what I'm
I get what you're saying.
Mr. Mayor, it would be up to you to open the budget. They cannot do it.
That's
But
what.
that's pending the discussion between this association and.
Yes, sir. But with the budget, once they adopt the budget, it's closed to the council until you make a presentation to them to amend.
Okay. So what I'll commit to is hearing what the compromise is. I'm not going to agree to opening it up, and I don't agree to what the compromise is. Okay. So is that fair, Mr. President? Based on what the committee.
What's that?
Based on what the committee and the.
Based on what the committee with the Builders Association, the finance director, we come in, since they say we missed this part, if we can come in and make the adjustment, if it reduces the budget from what our bottom line is right now, 2%, 2 million, 1 million, then we can make those adjustments. You open the budget up and we vote and move forward.
What I'll commit to for public record is consideration of what the discussions are between home builders and the city council. I don't want to say carte blanche, I'm going to agree to open it up because I don't know what's going to be presented. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So we'll agree to the consideration that comes back from the council. That's fair.
May I ask a question here?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Calhoun, why would the budget need to be reopened? Could you not amend the ordinance? Because, you know, when this budget is put together and I give the mayor my recommendations and he presents his budget, I am conservative in the number. And the $6.5 million is a number that is not at the top of what could be gleaned from the increase, okay? So is there a way to amend the ordinance as opposed to talking about reopening the budget?
Are you nodding your head yes, Stacey?
It would affect
She's
the
not.
budget.
Would that be amending just the Schedule AM? Is that what you're?
Yes, the fee.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to get us to work through.
I mean, that ideally would be the best thing if we could just amend this ordinance to keep Schedule AM the same at this time and then sit back down, and I'll commit to whenever anybody can meet to coming back down. And
Well, why not let the ordinance read as it is, and with the council saying that we will go back and review this, they can amend it. You don't need to change it, I don't think, in my opinion, right here, right now.
But that's basically what I'm asking.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to suggest, that we get through that. If we need to amend Schedule AM in the budget, we can go back and amend it.
Yes.
But that still would have, okay, you said it's a conservative budget on the 6.5, what?
Right, I'm conservative in my increase to the budget from that increase in the ordinance.
Hold on, one at a time. We can sing together, but we can't all talk at the same time. Madam Clerk?
I disagree with that because when the budget is set, those figures are static. And only when the mayor presents it for an amendment can any changes be made. Because even with there's discretion that when the budget is adopted, you can have movement within departments, but you can't have movements from one department to another department without an amendment to that ordinance. That's not supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to operate. So my concern is if you get to where they're going to change a bottom line figure.
No,
Not gonna change.
I'm not asking to change the bottom line
You
figure.
don't think it's going to change the bottom
No,
line
no,
figure of that
ma'am.
budget?
No, ma'am.
You got,
No.
Even though they're
Mr.
changing
President.
revenue?
let me,
But that's.
you got enough play in your numbers. All your numbers are educated guesses. Is that correct?
Well, they're very educated.
They're
And like I
educated,
said,
know,
I
but
don't
they're
go
educated.
to the
You
top of the amount
Right.
that we
They
think
might
that
be
we
off
could.
a half of 1%, every one of them.
It's possible, yes.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about changing the bottom line of that $625,628 budget.
Right, not a big-
You own it.
not much money.
Is the council satisfied?
Oh, I've
It's
seen
within,
that.
it's within the
All right.
deviation inside the budget.
No,
Why don't we
it
just
change
take it
the
out
bottom
now?
line. If we change the bottom line, we have to find a revenue
And we
source.
can't take it
All right, so,
But
Ms.
amend
Johnson,
it.
the will of the council, Ms. Johnson? Mr.
What are you asking, Mr. President? I'm sorry.
I'm asking you for, what's your motion?
A motion to adopt as is, and we come back to the table and look at what a compromise could be, or discussion that we can have to look at what the amendment could look like that won't change the bottom line figure.
Okay? Do you need a vote on that, or can
As
it be
for
a discussion?
AM, yeah.
The motion is to adopt.
Okay. All right, have a motion.
Wait, Mr. President, can I ask something right quick, please?
Yes, you can.
Okay, but Ms. Betty, didn't you say that the AM number wouldn't?
Speaking to your mic for me, Ms.
Didn't you say that you could do it like this, but the number he's discussing would not change it?
No, we'll leave the ordinance as it is, and you're talking about having that discussion with the Home Builders Association, and then possibly doing an amendment to adjust the schedule at that time.
Yeah. You're adjusting the schedule, not the budget.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Blaylock, can that be done?
If she and the council think that those figures will stay the same, I have no heartburn.
What?
Just if
Legally.
those figures change, then the mayor's going to
The
have to
figures
open
will
the
not
budget.
change.
So the mayor doesn't have to reopen the budget.
If she says that they're not going to change, if there's no changes in that bottom line, then you're good to go. Because
Yeah.
only if you change those figures.
The figures, okay.
Mr. President, why don't we just take the AM, leave it as it is, then meet with them. If we need to agree to increase, we'll increase. So we will just
Can't
So
do
that
that.
is changing the bottom line if we do that.
Well, I know, but she's got playroom in the bottom line.
Council, you got a motion on the floor.
All right, got a motion on the floor.
Motion to adopt.
You got a motion to adopt. All in favor, please raise your hand.
4,
All opposers have the same right.
4,
All right, so that resolution fails for lack of majority.
yes, sir,
All right,
which carries us
Carries
to
the budget
item
over for 2.
What do you want to do with it?
2 weeks.
Ordinance amending fiscal year 2024 operating debt service budget and adopting fiscal year 2025 operating debt service budget.
Mr. President, I just want to make it clear and make it plain if the public understood what just happened. So, Ms. Befield, could you explain it again to the public?
What has just happened means that the budget that has been presented by Mayor Stephen L. Reed will not be including any raises for MPD or any other city employees. We will have to operate on the 24 budget, which we're currently in, because the funds are not there for that. Without that increase from the ordinance with the business license.
Ms. Beeville and the council, I'm just gonna make this statement. What happened just then is more than just the city's not getting a raise in the count. What happened is the work that we did from June, July, August, working on a budget, putting these type things in committee, having this council come beforehand, and then, and I respect Mr. Rutland on what we're trying to do, but to come here and hold the city of Montgomery hostage on a schedule where we can't work it out. We can't come to agreement as 9 members of this council. It's a sad situation in the city of Montgomery. And what we're doing, we're saying we can work together, we can come together, and at the 9th hour of the day, someone can come down here and say, let's hold this up, I don't agree with this, and this council say, no, we're not gonna do it. We don't know how to compromise. We sat here week after week with this council chamber being packed with people talking about what we need in the city of Montgomery. These are the things that we're asking for. We don't want to make the increases to accommodate the things that you ask for on a daily basis. We need more trucks. We need more sanitation workers out here on the street. All of these things is in this budget. Every council member, that's your job, to come to budget meetings and to have your input at that time. And if you didn't come and don't make, why make it on the day? We have had 2 weeks. As the president of the council, I have received 1 or 2 calls. Mr. Jim Wright asked some question about something within this budget in this schedule of the budget changes in the business license fees. That's it. So all of us, no question, no answer. Then today we say, well, I didn't know about this. I didn't come to a meeting. That's your job, to be at budget meetings. Yep. And so when we come here and hold this city hostage, you can sit back and we can stay on operating on 2024 budget as we go forward. But don't cry about the things that we don't have within this city. When your citizens are calling and your constituents, don't cry. Don't come up here and say what we need. When you sit here and have the opportunity, you got to stand on your morals and do what's right for this city. And what we know is right for this city. Don't sit here and say, I'm against this, I don't know. We're willing to work with Mr. Rutland. He said he's willing to work with us on making the changes. But we sit here and say, no, we're rather for the citizens of Montgomery, the police force that we fought. I didn't vote for it on a 15% increase across the board. That's affected in this budget. The sanitation, 5% across the board for all the city employees. That's in this budget. So you said you wanted that, you voted for it, now you're against it. So be with what you're going to, be where your feet are, as Nick Saban would say, be where your feet is. And that's what I'm trying to say.
Mr. President, I'd like to push back on that just a little bit, especially given the industry that we're talking about right here.
And I understand that.
And we're talking about being competitive.
And the vote is already been made.
Mr. President, for a moment. We are talking about being competitive. We lost citizens. We need to have
and we're going to continue
an active.
Well,
I understand that,
but keep acting like we're acting right here.
But not when we have the kind of discrepancy that we're having against our competitive cities. And all I was asking us to do was to figure out if there was a way.
To let us figure it out.
He just agreed to
it.
He
agreed to that, and we still voted
But we
it
did
down.
not. There was the mechanism to do that is to come back with a change to the schedule, see how it affects the budget, and then pass the budget.
The only thing that we cannot do as a council is change the bottom line without coming up with a revenue source. Our finance director, our CFO, said that we could do that. It would not change the bottom line. This council sat here at a person that we pay and we trust to run the financial department of this city, and we just said, irregardless of what you say, Ms. Bibia, we're going to do it this way.
No, we said that we would like to look at
the vote is
an
made
amendment
now.
to the schedule in section A and M so that we'd see how it impacts the budget and we will pass the budget at that time. But I think it's important for us to have the discussion, and when we figure out, some of us believe that we want to see it on paper, vote on that thing before we move our budget forward, we do that, and we'll be back on October 1st, and hopefully we can do it at that time.
That's your right, Mr. Samansky, and I agree with you 100%. I understand the process, but this process with this budget started in June. In June, here we are in September, and so it's September, on September the 17th at 6:30 p.m., we say we got an issue with an item that you worked on the committee, and that's why I put councils on committee so everybody can get a chance to work on it. You guys presented this resolution of this ordinance to the full council. So why wasn't these things discussed at that time and came before in the last 2 weeks when we brought it up? No one asked a question about it other than Mr. Jim Wright. Mr. Jim Wright asked the question, and I think he got his answer on the legal fees, the lawyers, and what their adjustment were. Now, we didn't hear, I'm not saying that Mr. Rutland is wrong for coming. He represents an organization that's coming for this council. But as a council, we represent the citizen of Montgomery, the city of Montgomery. He's a part of that. We're trying to do what's right for all. But we will hold up a budget for all our employees, 2,600 employees, for one item that we can't adjust. And that's your right as a council to vote your conviction. But the conviction that I have is to represent these citizens in Montgomery and as we move this city forward. And that's all I got to say about that. We can go to the next item if anybody else want to discuss that as we move forward. I'm ready to go.
I've already read item 2, Mr. President, the budget, refer the budget. What's the council will on the budget? Ordinance amending fiscal 2024 and adopting fiscal year 2025 operating
I think
district.
then we have the vote on number 4. It failed.
We voted on, see, we took 4 out of order. Now we're to the normal place in the agenda for the budget itself. So what's the will of the council on the budget?
All right.
You want
What's
to
the
carry
will
it
of the
over?
council on the
You want to
budget?
call for a vote?
I think the council spoke on their will of the budget when they voted on item number 4.
We can't. Sir, not according to
Okay,
the
well,
budget.
I need a motion on item number 2.
Motion to adopt.
Mr.
Okay.
Preston,
Mr. President, we have a motion on the floor. We have a
Mr.
motion.
Preston,
No,
I
sir,
have
we
a
don't.
question.
No,
You didn't hear Mr. Mission make a motion to adopt?
no, I didn't hear him make a
Okay,
motion.
he had a motion on the floor to adopt item number 2.
Motion to adopt.
Okay.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
What's number 2?
The budget.
We voting on the budget.
I see one here, okay.
Voting on the budget, it's short. I vote for it to be short.
Y'all are voting on the budget.
Voting on the
Okay.
budget.
6,
All right.
What,
wait a minute.
can I ask a question
You
real
can
quick?
take your phone out.
Did
please.
you vote on
No,
it?
no, I'm asking you a question real quick.
Okay.
Did you say that we cannot pass a budget without having that clarified? Or we can pass a budget and we're gonna clarify that afterwards? Because if that was the case, then,
It's not a
again,
balanced budget, that's correct. That's
now
what
we
I said. the
can,
will
so you're
of the
telling me we can
council
pass a
carried
budget
over.
even after all of that? We
I
still move
asked for a
forward?
motion on the budget. Vote your conscience.
Well, I'm saying though, if we can pass a budget and get a change to that fee schedule, then
It no longer balances.
Yep.
exactly, which is fine. I mean, again, if it means that we're gonna pass the fee schedule the next one, but
Make
you
it
get the
big.
budget passed this time.
Hey, the motion is on the floor.
To vote, to adopt the budget.
Yep.
Well, if she said 4 did not affect the bottom line of the budget, then I would think you could go forward with the budget. So it's the will of the council.
Yes, Mr. Council. We have a motion on the floor. Mr. Mitchell, you have an amendment.
Ms. Blaylock,
Yes.
I have amendment that I pass out to the council, so I want to make a amendment on
Okay, so y'all are nullifying the motion to adopt.
So what's that?
See, we took a vote on motion to adopt, and there were 6, and then.
Okay. Well, we
Mr.
have a motion.
President.
He has an amendment.
Mr. President, sorry, Council Mitchell. How can you adopt a budget if we've got an issue that impacts the bottom line and they just voted on the previous item? Help me out.
They couldn't, but Ms. Betty, will this affect the bottom line of the budget?
It does not affect the bottom line on the budget, which is why I don't understand why you can't pass the ordinance increasing the business licenses, coming back and doing an amendment for the schedules that you need to do an amendment on. The number that is included in this budget, $6.5 million increase in business license, is a conservative number. I never go to the top of the scale of what we think it could possibly do based on the number of businesses that we have in this city today. So it's basically the same either way. You still plan to work on the ordinance to adjust schedules.
Mr. President. Ms. Beeville, does that mean that at the next meeting, you can bring us a schedule that amends that Schedule A?
No, sir, it does not mean that. We're in overload mode right now in the finance department with my staff.
Okay.
It means that we need to have a budget so that on October 1, it can be in place. And we can roll the numbers over that we need to for FY 2025.
And then we can look at that fee structure again.
Yes, sir. You can pass the ordinance and look at the fee structure anytime and do an amendment.
Okay.
Am I
Mr.
wrong,
Master, the only
Stacy?
fee structure that we're looking at is AM. So we're gonna pull all the other.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Jenright.
I want to move to bring item 4 back on the table.
All right, we have a motion to reconsider item number 4. All in favor, please raise your hand.
6.
All
Are you
opposers have the same?
Abstaining? No. One no.
Okay. 2 noes.
Who's the no? Other Grimes?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, now take item 4 and amend that particular one, for AM, whatever it is.
Okay. All right.
What was the one we're talking about?
So we're reconsidering item number 4.
Okay, you're gonna have to make a motion to adopt.
Need a motion to adopt.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Now a motion to amend,
Now the motion to amend.
to
Mr. Jim,
remove AM, is that correct?
AM.
Is that what the?
That's the
council-
one.
Yeah, that's what it
AM.
is, AM.
AM.
Fee structure, AM.
Schedule AM?
Schedule.
Okay.
Schedule AM.
All right.
Move to.
We have a motion on the floor. All in favor, please.
Move to, schedule AM to the present rates.
That's it.
To present rates.
All right.
Okay.
All right, we got the motion. All in favor, please raise your hand. That's the motion to adopt, I'm sorry. No, it's item number 4.
Okay, hands up and stay up. Mr. Grimes, did you vote for that or not? You're voting for it? 7.
All right.
Mr.
All opposers?
1 no.
All right.
All right, now you got your.
All right. So now we can go back to item number 2.
Item 2 is correctly before the council at this point.
Froze up.
For their budget.
So, now look, we got an amendment on, did you get the amendment from Mr. Mitchell on item number 2?
I passed out the
Okay,
amendment.
we need to make let's redo that because y'all took a vote on that one when you shouldn't. Just a motion to adopt, now
A motion to amend and a motion to adopt.
To amend, is that the 2 sheets that you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
That's 2 sheets I passed out.
Okay.
Changes to 2025 general fund budget. Yeah, okay.
Mr. Rutland, you don't have to stand any longer.
Thank you very much. I apologize for all the trouble.
All right, so you need another vote count on that?
Yes, sir. We need now the motion to amend, to
Okay.
add those 2 sheets.
Okay. The motion to amend to add the changes to the 2025 general fund budget. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
All right, now we need a motion to adopt.
We have the motion to
Okay,
adopt.
we
We
good.
just need the
All right.
vote on it.
Thank you, council. Thank you.
We need the motion, we need the vote on the motion to adopt as amended.
Okay, we need the motion to adopt the 2025 FY Operation Debt Service Budget. All in favor, please raise your hand.
7.
All right, all opposers have the same right?
Mr. Zemeski, you vote no? You abstain? Motion carries. The budget is adopted as amended.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, Ms. Bibia.
Item 5, resolution repealing legislation which created Montgomery City County Personnel Board and expressing council's intent to adopt an ordinance creating a city personnel board in accordance with Act 2024-337.
Ms. Blaylock, I'm carrying item number 5 over for 2 weeks and working with the council on the proposal or how we would do the legal to create that
To
department.
the very next meeting.
All right.
Yes, sir. Item 6, ordinance regulating parking of commercial vehicles on residential property, option 1.
Ms. Blaylock.
Hold up, Ms. Blaylock, my bad. Okay, we on the right one. All right. 6 and 7, I think.
Ms.
Still on the right.
Blaylock, before we go to new business, I have something I want to present, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to pass down this resolution, please. I'd like to bring back up Resolution 123-2024, and it deals with the towing companies. It's, and at the last council meeting, I believe it was the last one that we talked about this, when it came up and we had discussion on it, the street that was in question was Oliver Road, and then at the last minute, it changed to West Patton Avenue. So at this time, it bounces over to Councilman Riley's district, and I'm going to let her take this from here.
You need to get the vote first. There's a motion to reconsider this resolution.
There's a motion to reconsider this resolution.
We need a vote.
Your vote.
All in favor?
All in,
It's for the chair to call for the vote.
Come on, Chair.
What you,
It's
I'm sorry.
resolution to reconsider.
It's just
the
to
towing
reconsider it.
company doing business as D&D Towing and Recovery at 23 West Patton Avenue.
Okay, need a motion to suspend the rules?
No, sir, you just need a motion to reconsider. She's made the
Oh,
motion. We just need the mo.
all right, need a motion to reconsider. All in favor, please raise your hand.
7. Mr. Mitchell, are you voting no or abstaining?
I'm trying to read, since we just got the ordinance, are we taking their license?
No.
back?
No.
We
No.
just-
No.
We're just moving it to another district?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
All right, you have a motion to reconsider. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
All right, Ms. Beard.
Now she wants it to move Mrs. Riley because it's in her
Actually,
district.
I'm gonna carry for 2 weeks, Ms. Blaylock, and I'll bring them in then. Thank you.
Man, y'all just put them folks out of business.
No, they're not going out of business. They're not going out of business.
Okay, item 6, ordinance regulating parking of commercial vehicles on residential property, option 1. And council, you should be provided and substitute on option 1. The council has to decide if they want to use option 1 or option 2 for discussion.
All right, Ms. Riley, we have public, you go ahead and introduce what you're trying to do with item 6.
What we're doing is we're just getting some stuff established. We already have ordinance on this, and we need to just enforce our ordinance on what we have dealing with these trucks in the community. So that is what I'm trying to get the council in the community to get involved in. So if we need to change things, we need to, but this is an opportunity for the councilor and the public to get involved in all of these trucks that everybody's calling every councilor about that's illegally in your neighborhoods. So this is the open discussion that we're trying to put out in the public so we can get something done. We can enforce the ordinance that we have on the book that we have not been enforcing.
All right, we have public communication on item 6 and 7, but I understand what you're trying to do. I don't understand what an ordinance from the city council is gonna do on the enforcement issue from the city. We don't enforce laws.
We don't enforce laws, but we have citizens that are carried and are concerned.
But what
And
does
it's
the
time
ordinance do to enforce the law?
If we need to change some things in these ordinances, Mr. President, we might need to change some things in the ordinance to see what our citizens are addressing about and what our residents and our business people are also concerned.
And I agree with you.
So
I have
just think-
two of my constituents sitting out here to talk about items 6 and 7. But what I'm asking you is changing the ordinance has nothing to do with the enforcement.
Some things in this ordinance have not been changed, and we need to look at about updating.
All right, we changed the ordinance. Who enforced it?
The MPD?
Okay.
Not in your driveway.
Not in,
Well, not in the driveway, but we have to look at this for our citizens, you all. These are our citizens, and if they're concerned about these vehicles, we need to be concerned and let them have an opportunity to speak about it
All right.
and what they want to see done.
all right,
The inspections division would actually be
Well, the inspection
department
division
that
as well, yes, ma'am.
hold
enforces
on, one at a
this.
time. What are you saying, Ms.?
The inspections division.
Okay, it's in the inspection division now, right? So my point I'm trying to make, an ordinance don't make nobody go out and enforce no ordinance. There's a speeding law right now, but I can't make the police pull a car for speeding.
Exactly.
So it's the law, that's what I'm saying.
But
We're-
Mr. Calhoun, President,
Okay, we can put more ordinance on the book,
have
but
to
we gotta
let our
enforce it. All right,
citizens
Mr.
speak about some things
Well, I'ma
that
let
they
them
need to
speak,
talk
but
about.
They ain't got nothing to do with enforcement.
I know, Mr.
All right,
Calhoun, but we
Mr.
have to give them
okay,
the
I think- I'ma
opportunity.
give them
They
the
are the
opportunity.
citizens of this
Okay,
city.
all right, guys. And on item number 6 and 7, Ms. Philly Harvey Hall and Ms. Claudette Jenkins. And you got something to say about it? Go ahead, Mr. Carter.
Any of the vehicles that are parked on the street
Speak into
do
your
go
mic,
to PD. The parking in the yard comes to the inspection department. Anything in the right of way.
Hold up, speak into your mic from me. You 6'5", so pull it up some. Thank you, sir.
As far as parking,
There you go.
parking in the yard comes to inspections. Parking in the street goes to PD. The reason being is because when we affect the property, we affect a parcel number, and that's the property that we're affecting. The street we can't address.
Okay, item 6 and 7, Ms. Hall, Ms. Jenkins. You was trying to say something to me? Y'all bear with me. We'll be here about 3.5 more hours.
Well,
on,
it
Ms.
should
Hall.
be considered since how long
No,
we've
no,
been
no, not about
waiting.
that. Not about that.
Seriously, I'm Phyllis Harvey Hall for the record. I'm not just interested in being heard. As Councillor Riley has said, there's already section 27385 on the book concerning parking of commercial vehicles. And what I have come to notice is that there is a gap in service somewhere or in accountability. Surely we have the council that makes the ordinance, is there on the books, has been for years. Our gap is in the actual accountability and the enforcement, and everyone is like, we know that if the vehicle is on the truck that's on the street, that's MPD. We also know that if it's in the driveway, that goes to inspections. Now the question is, who's really going to work to stop this? Are we going to keep passing the buck to inspections or MPD? Will someone take accountability and say, let's work together and resolve the issue? Because no one wants cabs, commercial vehicles, parked next to their driveway. And I dare say of the 7 or 8 of you there, how many of you all want to get up and look at those vehicles parked next to you? It is on the books. We need someone, we need our city services to do what you all were doing a moment ago. Come together and resolve this for neighborhoods. We were promised neighborhood revitalization. We were promised that there would be concern for our neighborhoods. We're fighting for them. Our previous chief said, if you see something, say something. Not only do we in Gay Meadows see something, say something, we send something called photos. We send the evidence. Now, when I spoke to someone at MPD today, when I said to them, if there's a murder case, you don't keep pushing that. You don't have to come out and see it. MPD said we need to come see it there. Inspection, by the time you get there 3, 4, 5 days later, you're right, the truck might be moved. So there's a gap. Who's going to fill it? Thank you, Phyllis Harvey Hall, Gay Meadows interim president.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Ms. Jenkins,
I'm Claudette Jenkins, and I'm a resident.
speaking to the mic for me.
Excuse me, thank you. I'm Claudette Jenkins, and I'm a resident here in the city of Montgomery, Alabama. And I'm concerned about my neighborhood. I thought about having somebody to write me a speech. Then I said, no, you get up there and tell them, speak from your heart. And what she said, I agree wholeheartedly with that. I have some handouts. I walk my neighborhood at least 5 or 6 days a week. And I run up on these trucks parked in the driveway. Some are hidden behind the privacy wall. We don't want that. What I see is when we as black folks, I talk black and white, when we as black folks get to the finish line, then the goalpost is moved. And it's moved, it seems that these trucks are allowed to come into our neighborhood. The great white fathers who wrote up these ordinances and wrote up these laws, y'all didn't have it. So here we are. So what are you gonna do to help us? We pay taxes. Help us. Like she said, it's a gap. Today I went to see if this man was hiding his truck in his backyard. And this is what I found. Thank you.
Mr. Tate.
Not like that, Mr. Tate. Oh, she has. This is what I found parked on the street, and I had my camera. And he asked me, he said, can I help you? I said, no, you can't help me. I'm a member of the association.
Ma'am, can you speak into the mic? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Pull the mic to you. Yes, ma'am.
I take pictures. And these are the pictures. This is the picture I ran up on. And he told me, he said, as soon as this guy cut my yard, then I park my truck in the backyard.
No, he can't.
So we're not running a truck stop.
Ms. Jenkins, I want to hear you. Speaking to your mic. There you go. Now we can hear you. There you go.
We're not running a truck stop. We're running a community. And we're trying to live decently. And that's why you're there, to help us. So what are you going to do? That's all I'm interested in. What are you going to do? Did you give the
Ms. Jenkins.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. Mr. Tate.
Good evening, everybody.
a big issue here that needs to just be said the way it needs to be said. If you look at, in this case, item number 13, I know this is the last item on the agenda. It's one sentence, but the backup to that, in a lot of cases, consists of 400 items. Okay, of those 400 items, some of them do include ticketing cars that are parked on the yard. But in this venue, we don't see that. We only see that one item, and we have concerned citizens, which is perfectly okay. Here's what happens when we ticket a vehicle on private property. It doesn't come back to us. It goes to circuit court. So what happens there is out of our control. So part of what, and I do understand the problem because we see it all over town, and my guys, and I'm gonna stand there and tell you this, they're working their tails off to deal with this, so it's not an enforcement issue. I wanna be very clear, at least for parking on the yard. And I just wanna be clear to everybody, maybe at some point we do expand the last agenda item to really show what those items are, and then at some point the citizens will see that enforcement is being done. Now, you know, our guys leave their jobs at 4:30, 5 o'clock. So if somebody's parking in the yard at 7:30 o'clock at night, she's right, we won't see it until the next morning, or may miss that particular opportunity. But at some point, we have got to get to a point in the community to where this is just not acceptable behavior of a human being. And no ordinance that you can pass can take care of that until the people change their behavior towards their properties and so forth. But what I will tell you is this, and I'll sit down. At some point, when you expand the last item on this agenda, you'll see properties that we've cited. You'll see these parking nuisances that we've dealt with. But above all, if you take the average number of nuisances that are involved in the last agenda item, in some cases it's 400 to 500. So over a month's period, it could be almost 1,000 nuisances that you approve, but nobody sees that breakdown. Thank you very much.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Tate.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. Tate. I just wanted to speak on this. I said it several times before, and I'd like to repeat it today, because she brought up something about how older communities or communities of a certain color. Well, what you have now, we have HOAs, right? And when you build a home now, they come with deeds, and in those deeds, they have covenants. Well, in a lot of communities that were built in Montgomery, in different sides of town, you have our neighborhood associations, and there are no covenants in place. So I think, as Mr. Kippy Tate stated, with the community, there's somewhere in some fashion that as the community, we come together and we put together some bylaws or something similar to a covenant legally that will address those things that we want and do not want to see in our communities.
And thank you, Councillor Johnson. All of that being that the ordinance is there, I think I have a few other suggestions that might work. We were here about a month ago saying that as we talk to our neighbors, when we do go out, we put notices out. We have a newsletter that we get out, one going out tomorrow. We have sent out copies. We made copies and distributed those of the ordinances. But as a neighborhood association, we're well aware of our bounds. We have no ability to enforce. Yeah. And as we're beginning to see, we are making enemies of our neighbors because we are doing the reporting to the city. Our neighbors are upset that they're being reported on, so we can't build that community, sense of community we need because there's a gap here. And I have suggested maybe as you're looking at this budget and there's going to be excess money, maybe we can hire, as we used to have, you didn't have to wait all the time for someone from inspections to come and you make a call. It used to be that years or maybe a decade ago, there were inspectors that drove around communities. And I think maybe Mr. Tate, are you familiar with that? That they would ticket and do things without neighbors having to call. And I've suggested, not only up under this administration, but up under the previous one, maybe we look at hiring some part-time inspectors, training them and getting them out there so they can do that work, especially as we increase our budget. And then there could be a public awareness campaign where the city councilors or even could do commercials. Maybe sometimes people are operating because they just really think they can do that, because as you well know, that if no one is actually informing the public, they may think this is okay. They normalize it, and we don't want it normalized because it shouldn't be. Whether you're an HOA or you're a neighborhood organization, property values are affected.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. All right, what are we on, item number 7?
We're on item number 6.
Okay. They're gonna be carried over, so let's go to item number 8.
And it is germane to the same thing. It's the same thing, option 2. And there was a substitute that was supposed to come with that one. You want to carry this one over?
Yes, ma'am.
Item number 8, ordinance vacating a portion of North Bainbridge Street.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 9, ordinance altering and enlarging the corporate limits of the city of Montgomery by including within the boundaries of the city and incorporating into Council District 4.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution, ordinance is adopted. Item 10, resolution to accept the donation of a park from the East Montgomery Exchange Club to the city of Montgomery.
Move to suspend the rules.
All right. Move to suspend the rules. All in favor, please raise your hand.
I'm sorry, Mr.
It's
Beard.
okay.
I know this is a big deal.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You can do it.
Big deal for you.
It is.
You can say, you
It's
can,
huge.
you can move it, adopt it, okay?
Go ahead.
You ain't say that to me, Charlie.
All right, let's go.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Mr. Zeminski? Oh, sorry. Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Beard.
Yes, at this time, go ahead, Mr.
Go ahead.
At this time, I'd like for the East Exchange Club just to come up. I have Mr. Willie Peak and Mr. Gene Call, and if the East Exchange Club will come, as well as Ms. Monica Whiting. The Exchange Club in Montgomery, Alabama, East Exchange Club Park, has been down on Callson Boulevard since about 1956, 58, and it's been ran by, over here, sir, by the Montgomery East Exchange. And last year, the city of Montgomery runs the baseball, softball park, and they take care of the grounds, but last year, these friends decided that they wanted to gift it to the city of Montgomery to become a Montgomery-owned property. And we've been working on this since November with the assistance of Ms. Whiting. And so tonight, they are going to gift this property. And I thank you so much for coming out tonight. And I appreciate all your hard work and patience with us. Thank you. And at this time, if we can get a picture. If y'all come up to the front, Mr. Willie.
Mr. Peak.
Mr. Peak. And Mr. Peak used to be a city councilman as well.
right.
So
Come on up.
District 1. So y'all come up for a nice picture. Thank you. Monica, where are you? Monica, come on. I want you in the picture. Monica. She did all the work. Hey, Mr. Nice. Thank you, Monica.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take it back there. You gotta go.
Just say, let us go. Let's go.
I went to the boundaries.
Item number 11, application for a restaurant retail liquor license doing business as El Jalisco, 5480 Atlanta Highway. And I'll have to ask him if I pronounced that right.
All right, owners for item number 11, Orlando's Enterprises LLC, liquor license, Jalisco. Your name for the record, sir?
Orlando Carballo.
All right, this is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing has been held. It's proper for the council. Mr. Grimes?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Item 12, application for a special events retail liquor license doing business as Jazz in the Gardens, Botanical Gardens at Oak Park, 1010 Forest Avenue.
Yeah, I get it. All right, owners,
You just
no,
come up here.
application.
But
What's your name?
It's Alicia Thompson.
Okay, Ms. Thompson. All right,
motion to suspend the rules.
you got the name, Ms. Blaylock.
Wait, you gotta have a public
This is a
hearing.
public hearing. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing has been held. It's proper for the council.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Need a motion to adopt?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Good luck with your event, man.
To the council and everybody here, if you haven't been to the park to see what you've done, you need to go see what's going on in Oak Park, because they really have making a difference. You really are. I appreciate it. I walked the other morning in there, and it's really nice.
I thank you for that. I thank you for that.
Well, I get my exercise
seriously.
someplace, and that's it.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. President, if I may, while we're right here on this item, this is something that's open to the public so we can celebrate what is happening. I thank you, Mr. General, seriously, to celebrate the growth and the things that are happening at the Botanical Garden at Oak Park. We haven't done anything to celebrate. A lot of people don't even know it exists, but we're doing so many things in Oak Park, and we wanted to do something in the district to show our appreciation to the Botanical Gardens Board and the growth that's happening right here in the heart of the city. So please come out and enjoy yourself and enjoy the facilities that we have and amenities in the city of Montgomery on September 29th. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, we need to slide in here before we take 13, the appeal of the abatement regarding a sign at 1009 West South Boulevard by Mr. Sharish Kaushik.
Okay. Dr. Costa.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, the Honorable Mayor, and the Honorable Councillors, I received the city's letter on Thursday, August 28th, when everyone was making plans for the long Labor Day weekend, informing me for the first time that there was a concern about my sign and giving me until September 5th. In effect, giving me 3 working days to abate a $100,000 roughly sign post that would be an asset to help market my property. I contacted city officials for an extension of time, only to be told they were doing the job they have been directed to do and it's out of their hands. I contacted major sign companies including Lamar Advertising, Mid-State Signs, and Vital Signs, only to be told they are not equipped to handle tall signs like mine. Florida Certified Sign Erectors in Dothan has asked me to provide them with dimensions of the pole and the frame before they could propose any solutions. I don't know, I can't climb a 50-foot pole. The point is, it'll take time to address this issue satisfactorily. I requested a meeting with Councillor Riley from District 4. She told me curtly, there's nothing for us to meet about. The city has a signage plan and she is supporting it. When we did meet upon my insistence, her tone and comments were generally adversarial, as if I and other property owners had caused all this blight in her district. She confirmed with Mr. David Whitaker in that meeting to give the impression that demolition of my sign has already been decided and the city has already obtained or is in the process of obtaining bids from contractors. In that meeting, I did propose to cover the frame with blank facing, take off the frame if absolutely necessary, or partner with the city and other entities such as the Montgomery Welcome Center and the Chamber of Commerce to utilize the signpost as a Welcome to Montgomery sign, to no avail. It was obvious that nothing I could have said or done that would change her stance. When I contacted other councillors for advice and help, you chose not to meet or discuss any balanced solution, stating that it was all left up to Councillor Riley and you don't want to step on her toes. Frankly, I'm appalled at the chest thumping the relatively new Councillor Riley has exhibited about cleaning up the area in a manner that would hurt me financially. And at your bolstering her without any regard for my pleas as a citizen or my property rights. What a demonstration of democracy in action in Montgomery, Alabama, known the world over as the heart and soul of the civil rights movement. Councillor Riley, are you certain your contemplated action will accomplish what is really intended? It wouldn't in fact hamper the business climate and would avoid any unreasonable invasion of established property rights? What about the undue harm your snap decision will cause me as an investor in West Montgomery? Many cities across the nation have permitted existing sign poles to remain for an extended period after their new sign ordinances became effective. They recognized that signs are a necessary component of a commercial environment and as such are entitled to the protection of the law. And what kind of a nuisance or harm my signpost has really caused anyone? It needs upgrading and I fully intend to do so. What if you don't like my home, how my home looks like to you? Will you come and demolish that too? Will you pay for rebuilding it too, to your vision and tastes? West-South Boulevard was thriving with businesses in the 1990s, relatively speaking, followed by a state of benign neglect for almost 2 decades, partly by design. If the truth be told, during the early part of last decade, Walmart had planned to build a regional shopping center on a large tract of land that included my property, only to find that powerful forces behind the scenes swayed them to ditch those initial efforts in favor of what is now Midtown Walmart on Ann Street, through means such as manipulation of crime statistics and such that they control and things like that. Since then, nothing much has happened on that part of the boulevard. Hardly any new business was locating there, and the remaining businesses were barely making it or were on the verge of shutting down or relocating elsewhere. I did not cause that problem. Your predecessors did. I committed no crime in deciding to invest my lifetime's saving in West Montgomery. I humbly submit you are persecuting the wrong guy. Under the economic conditions I just described, I couldn't have done much to attract new business to my vacant piece of land or to refurbish my sign. Now that things are beginning to change and the new QT truck stop has moved in the vicinity, I plan to work on purposeful and desirable development of that property. I have friends who own a string of hotels in cities like Prattville and other parts of the country. I have started talking to them about building a hotel at my site. Repeatedly, I'm facing disparaging retorts that no investor is clamoring to open new business on South Boulevard. But I respectfully urge you to work with me in a spirit of mutual partnership. As you know from your experience with Maxwell Boulevard project, how long it has taken and will take for your vision and dreams for a thriving West-South Boulevard to materialize. In the meantime, given time, I assure you I will succeed in establishing a good business there with an attractive sign on that pole that you will be proud of. I apologize for being blunt, But when no one seems to be listening, you have no choice but to scream to get your point across so reasonable minds may prevail. I am willing to, if you allow me to some time, to cover the facing or take the frame off, leave the pole there. I'm willing to paint the pole and maybe use that for a American flag or some whatever in the interim. Just allow me time so I can come up with a proper solution. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present my side.
Thank you, Dr. Cossett. Mr. Carr.
Inspection Department.
I'm going to give you and Kippy some training on using that mic next week.
The Inspection Department recommends the removal of this nuisance by y'all adopting this resolution.
So you want to remove this one from item 13?
No, sir. We recommend the removal of this nuisance by you adopting this resolution.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Ms. Riley?
Yes, Mr. Calhoun. We've been in the process, President, of getting our area back in compliance and cleaning up. From my understanding, the inspection has citations, several people over there with those signage that's just been posed and no signs on them, just in the air. You can ride all over this city, and the west side on the Southern Boulevard is the only area that looks like that, with no signage, and they've been up over 20 years, and no signage on those poles out there. So they went to talk to everyone and got them inspected and gave them their orders of what they need to do, because we have developed new signage coming for our district due to our District 4 receiving the $36.6 million and being an intercore for our intor of building our development coming through. They have given them time, they have given them estimates, and at the time when we had our meeting, he informed me and Mr. David that nobody, the reason why his sign went up there because nobody else do anything. So he let his go down too. Those was his words about how the district looked over there. Wasn't no growth over there, so he saw fit not to keep nothing going. That's the reason why our development has declined, because when you have that attitude as a business owner and you're not trying to keep your business up because another business is not doing the right thing or they're declining, we lose our property value. So we asked the question when they did this, correctly, Mr. Dave, y'all went and did an inspection. Y'all gave everybody who had those signs, those poles with no signage on it, that makes the Southern Boulevard over here on the West South Boulevard looks terrible. When we're in the area of fixing, designing, and getting things back in order, we're working to clean up District 4.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Riley. Mr. Cosby, we have heard your hearing. How much time you have, Ms. Lillard?
I didn't time it.
Okay, I got 9.5 minutes, so you got 30 seconds, sir.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with cleaning up. I want to support those efforts, but not at my cost at this point, because as I explained, 20 years, it wasn't me. This is the first time I have received notice on August 28th. First time. I have never been cited. No one ever talked about that that sign was an issue. Never. In the Envision 2040 plan, there are lists of people, violators, but that property was never cited for anything. I wasn't aware of it. This is the first time. Please work with me. Allow me time to come up with a reasonable solution, and you will be pleased. I would fully cooperate with you to do something properly. Please help me leave that pole there, because that's a major detriment in terms of cost factors. It will help me market that property to your liking, eventually. I promise.
Sir. Thank you, sir. All right. We heard the hearing. Come back. Any comments from the council before we move on item 13? All right. Thank you, Mr. Cossett, Dr. Cossett. Thank you.
Item 13, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Suspend the rules.
Mr. President, real quick, just a question. Do we have to, when there is an appeal, do we have to address the appeal directly, or does it just go back into the batch?
we got to adopt the resolution. We heard the appeal, so if you guys, it's still gonna have to go through the department to do that. Yeah. Okay, on item 13, also to speak with us, we have Ms. Michelle Croskery. Yes, ma'am. Name for the record.
The name is correct, Krosky. And let me give y'all a brochure because he's correct. You all sent out a letter on the 27th. You came to the mail on September the 6th.
Just talk to us once you get back to the mic so we can hear you better.
My name is Michelle Krosky. My letter is dated August 27, 2024. And there's numerous of buildings on the boulevard that need signs that's open all the time. I have a nonprofit organization where I help the veterans and I help different people. No one lives in my building and no one's there. But unfortunately, I have lights there because if I don't have lights, it'll get broken into numerous of times. And it have been broken into numerous of times. I am a nonprofit, 501c3. I am also a president of a HOA, which is in my neighborhood, which is in the county district. So I have a lot of issues, but I love my building for myself instead of doing things at my home, and I love helping people. I love helping individuals get homes and help build their credit so they can have things going for themselves. And for you all to send a letter out on August the 27th, and then I received it September the 6th, for to give 10 days to do a sign, that's ridiculous. It's mighty ridiculous. I mean, I think it's very unfair for business owners that's trying to survive, that's not even a business. Unfortunately, yes, I reached out to my District 7 person, and that's who they said it was. I thought it was Calhoun. He didn't return my call. You didn't return my call, and I left you a message. I also works in Tuskegee. Not only do I live in the county district, I works in Tuskegee. I work hard just to keep the building up. I don't even want to talk about when the city paved the service road and the contractors parked at the building, since I stay so far, and parked on the premises and had their lunch and bust up the asphalt. I just was able to save up enough money to get the asphalt done. I don't even want to talk about, I've been there almost 20 years. They stole the air conditioning from in the back of the building. They cut through the wire and stole the air conditioning.
Ms. Crosby, speak to us about the sign. Speak to us
I'm just letting you know the things I go through at the building. And so the sign is not it's the least inspected thing that I'm worried about right now. My main thing is trying to keep the lights on, keep my organization afloat. I'm a single mother, I'm a veteran, I got crisis I'm going through, and my thing is if I have a 501c3, maybe you all would like to donate and help me get the sign that you all want me to have to beautify the situation. Since that's what I never came to you all for a grant, I've done everything on my own. And I've helped a lot of you all win election, like the mayor, for example, for free, FREE.
Let's talk about the sign now.
Okay, once again, keeping it real. As what I always was told, the truth may set you free.
So let me ask you a question. What's the plan for the sign?
The plans for the sign is when I can get to it. Because right now my next goal is to put a fence again. Hopefully this time they won't be able to cut through it because they put debris on the premises.
Okay.
So that's why I come to you all. Since I'm a nonprofit organization, I come to you all to ask to help assist on getting a sign to your standards. Do some fundraisers there. I don't care. I need the help. I'm just a one person doing the best I can. Right. And I keep the grass cut to keep from getting a pay fine. As far as this gentleman right here, I did as he asked. I came outside to talk to him. And I told him he can make a donation. It's a tax write-off. He told me if I could come to your house, I felt that to be very inappropriate. But I dealt with it. No, you don't need to come to my house to make a donation.
Ms. Crosby, talk to us about the sign. Okay, it's an abatement on the sign. Your appeal is that you want us to, I guess,
10 days, Calhoun, 10 days is unbelievable.
Okay, so what's your plan?
You got the Governor Square
What's
with
your
a
plan
mess.
with this? What's your plan?
I asked you all to help.
Okay.
I'm coming to you all, asking you all for help.
All right, we heard
Since you want me to make it beautiful, you all make the beautifulness to it and help me out. I have a 501c3, and unfortunately I became a 501c3 right before the pandemic. So can I get some help from you all?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Like I do, I pay taxes on it every month, and it ain't cheap, and it ain't easy.
Okay, I got you. Mr. Thomas?
Yes,
Thank you, Ms. Crosby.
Yes, Mr. President, the inspection department recommends the abatement of this nuisance by approval of this resolution.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion before the council. Thank you, Ms. Crosby. We got you.
Wait, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? What is your long-term plan for the building? Short-term plan?
I was trying to make sure, since no one ever left me nothing to leave something for my little girl, and let her make that decision, even though she's nothing but 11. But like I said, I want to keep helping people. I would like to do whatever events that you would like to bring to the table, because like I said, it's a nonprofit. I just believe in helping people. And I just did the parking lot after the city of Montgomery got the service road paved. Just did it. And now I can't bend over to pick up debris. You know how many people take sofas and mattresses over there? And if I don't pick it up, guess who get to pay fine? Right. And nobody come volunteer to say, let's help pick it up.
Okay, all right, thank you, ma'am. All right, have a motion before the council. All in favor, please raise your hand. Did we suspend the rules already?
This is to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
Put them up high.
6.
All right.
6 with 2.
2 abstentions and 2 opposed. What, opposed or abstentions?
1 and 7 abstained. Resolution carries. It's adopted.
All right. Madam Clerk, you have anything else?
Yes, sir. We have a resolution assenting to the vacation of a plotted storm drainage easement for Diago Americas Supply Incorporated on Wasden Road.
Okay, that's the resolution that Mr. Mitchell just passed out. I passed out on the right. All right. Need a
Move
motion.
suspend rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Council, I do have contingency funds. Mr. Mayor, these have not been approved. For Council District 1, $1,522.22 to Forest Hills HOA, $1,500 to Bellhurst HOA, $1,500 to County Downs HOA, $1,500 to Fox Hollow HOA, $1,000 to Mountain View Homeowners Association, $1,500 to Carroll Villa, $1,000 to Glassner Autumn Challenge. For District 2, $1,000 to Montgomery Ballet, $1,000 to Youth in Action. For District 7, $10,000 to Montgomery Symphony Orchestra, $2,000 to Divas, Duchess, and Gents, $1,500 to Normandale Neighborhood Association, $1,000 to Cloverdale Idlewild Association, $1,000 to Leo Foundation, $2,000 to Landmarks Foundation, and $1,500 to Child Protect. For District 8, $4,500 to Mental Health America, $2,000 to Dresses for Pink, $1,000 to Hateless, $2,450 to Carriage Hills Neighborhood Association, $3,000 to Brighton Estates Neighborhood Association, $3,000 to Bell Station Neighborhood Association.
All right. I have one. A council remind you, this is your last meeting to spend your contingency fund, or it comes back to the president of the council.
Go ahead.
Ms. Beard?
I have one, Ms. Blaylock, $250 to Dresses in Pink, please.
Okay.
Okay, I have 3. $1,500 to Green Acres Association, $1,500 to...
Wait. Okay, 1,500.
1,500 to Seth Johnson Association, and 1,500 to Glad Lane Association. Thank you for coming to the council meeting, so you're rewarded.
Okay, anybody else?
Merry
Anybody
Christmas.
else? Council, this is the last meeting. You can use contingencies.
All right.
Allocate them.
All right. Need a motion?
I can't.
Motion to adopt.
I read yours.
Hey, Amy, Ms. Chappelle sent you guys your balances on the 4th, if you want to look at them before we adopt. Okay, all right. Need a motion, Mr. Jenright?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
All right, anything else?
That's all I have.
All right, any council have anything before we go into our public communication? Ms. Blaylock, what happens if I have to go to the restroom right now?
You pass the gavel,
Oh,
and
thank you.
since Mr. Pruitt's not here, I guess you would give it to
To the
Mr.
senior member?
Right, he's a senior.
I don't want it.
He's a senior.